All right, folks, it is 6 o'clock, so we will go ahead and get started. So thank you everyone for joining us tonight. Welcome. My name is Lucio, and I'm the Executive Assistant to the General Superintendent for Participatory Budgeting. Today, we're excited to introduce the Citywide Participatory Budgeting, otherwise known as PB, process for Chicago parks. This webinar will walk through what PB is, how the citywide process works, and how you can get involved. Right. So, sorry about that. This session is designed to be an overview, whether PB is brand new to you or something you've participated in before. We'll cover the basics of participatory budgeting, why the Park District is launching a citywide process, and what the timeline looks like. There will be time for questions at the end, so feel free to note them as we go. What is participatory budgeting? Participatory budgeting is a democratic process that gives residents a direct say in how public funds are spent. Instead of decisions being made only internally, community members help propose ideas, shape them, and vote on priorities. PB has been used in cities across the US and around the world to increase transparency, trust, and community ownerships of public projects. So, just a fun fact, PB started in Brazil, and the next place that it started was in Chicago at in Alderman Joe Moore's ward. And so we're very happy to start that here at the parks. Why citywide PB for the parks? Citywide PB allows park investments to reflect shared community priorities across Chicago, not just in one ward or one park. It expands access to decision making so more residents, park users, and stakeholders can participate. This process also helps strengthen partnerships between communities and the park district by making planning and funding more transparent. What is citywide PB? This is a park district-led participatory budgeting process focused on park improvements projects across the city. It is open to residents, park users, and community stakeholders from all neighborhoods. Rather than voting on individual projects at a single park, participants will help guide funding priorities at a citywide level. Our goal is to equally distribute $500,000 in PB funding across the park district's 3 regions. Final allocations depend on the ideas that are submitted, what is feasible to implement, and how residents vote. Equity and geographic balance are key considerations throughout this process. How the citywide PB process works. The citywide PB process has 4 main steps. These are the 4 steps, and I'll go into detail in the next few slides. The first idea is idea collection, where community members share their park improvement ideas. Next is project review and feasibility, where the park district and volunteers evaluate ideas and group them into project categories. Then residents vote citywide on those categories. Finally, the park district moves forward with implementation. So, idea collection. During idea collection, community members are invited to submit their ideas for improving parks across Chicago. Ideas can focus on things like access, safety, infrastructure, amenities, or sustainability. Again, these are just examples and not limited to that. There are multiple ways to participate, including online submissions, in-person events, and community meetings. And there's no limit on how many ideas you can submit. Phase 2, project review and feasibility. In this phase, Park District staff review all submitted ideas. Ideas are evaluated for feasibility, cost, and alignment with the Park District's guidelines. Similar ideas are grouped into project categories, and cost estimates and scopes are developed. Community feedback continues to play a role in refining these proposals. Phase 3, citywide vote. Residents are invited to vote on the proposed project categories. Residents may only vote once, and when you vote, you can vote for your top 3 categories, which is otherwise known as ranked choice voting. Categories that receive the most votes move forward for funding. This vote ensures that community priorities directly guide how PB funds are spent. What types of projects are eligible? Eligible projects include park amenities and infrastructure improvements, such as seating, lighting, or play features. Accessibility and safety improvements are also eligible and strongly encouraged. Environmental and sustainability projects like green infrastructure or ecological enhancements may also qualify. Roles and responsibilities. Community members play a central role by submitting ideas, participating in engagement opportunities, and voting. The Park District is responsible for reviewing feasibility, categorizing projects, and implementing winning projects. Partners and stakeholders support outreach, education, and engagement to help ensure broad participation. And by partners and stakeholders, a lot of that will be the PACs, the Park Advisory Councils, who have that broad reach in all the neighborhoods. Here is a timeline. So idea collection runs from January 17th, which has passed, up until March 31st. Project development and feasibility review will take place from March through May. Citywide voting is planned for May through June, and implementation and updates will begin in the summer and fall, continuing into 2027. And I want to just emphasize that this is the proposed timeline that we have. Um, we may need some flexibility in this, but this is what we're going to try to stick to. How to get involved. There are several ways to participate in Citywide PB. You can either submit an idea or multiple ideas. You can help spread the word to your networks, to your neighbors, or attend meetings and events. Most importantly, you can vote and help shape how park funding is used citywide. What to expect after the vote. After voting concludes, winning project categories will be announced publicly. The Park District will lead implementation of the selected projects from the voted on categories. Ongoing updates will be shared to the community so that the community can track progress and outcomes. I wanted to take a moment to navigate the PB website. So I'm just switching my screens here. Okay. Can folks see the website here?
Lucille, you have to enlarge it.
Oh,
That's better.
that's better.
Yeah, scroll down and let's.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here we have a video from our wonderful superintendent, Carlos Ramirez Rosa, just explaining what PB is. There's a definition here for folks to look at if they need to reference, just explaining what the process looks like. Again, explaining what the process looks like, the $500 investment. And here are the phases that we've gone through. And then this red button is for you to submit your ideas. Again, this is unlimited. And the deadline for that is March 31st. We have examples of what things cost here. Now, this is not limited to your options to submit ideas is not limited to this menu here, but we just thought it would be helpful to let folks know around what things cost. There's also some projects that we have listed here that are not recommended for PB just because they are outside of the range of the funding that we have for each region. But we do have this link right here, capital improvement plan suggestion form. where you can submit ideas for larger projects that are outside the scope of PB. And that's it for that. Oh, I'm gonna go back to my slides here. Oop. Sorry, give me 1 second. Uh, Sorry, folks, just give me one moment. There we go. Okay. And I want to let folks know that our website person is currently updating the website so that if folks who are interested in joining the Citywide PB steering committee, you can go ahead and sign up by tomorrow. That should be ready by tonight, but I want to ensure that it's there. So just give it till tomorrow for if you're interested in signing up for that. We're also working on the details of what that expectation looks like. So how many meetings we'll have, and it will follow your commitment to the steering committee should follow that timeline that I had earlier. And we'll be sharing these slides out and posting a recording of this webinar on that same website. So again, it's chicagoparkdistrict.com/pb. So I'd like to open it up for Q&A. If folks have questions, comments, uh, Maria will help us by getting you all off mute.
If you raise your hand, I will unmute you and call on you. All right, Deborah M. I have unmuted you. Just give it a second and you should be able to speak.
I
Hi,
think you
Deborah.
might have to mute yourself too, like Deborah has to.
Deborah, you need to unmute yourself. All right, Deborah, we will come back to you. Okay. Next, Dave Kostolansky, I'm going to unmute you. I'm going to allow your mic. You need to unmute yourself.
Thanks, Maria. My question is, if we need to have an estimate on a project, the first project that came to mind for me, I don't know if it would be within the quote $50,000 max that I remember seeing somewhere. And certainly if it's larger, it probably wouldn't be considered because you got to spread this out. What's the best way to get an idea, a ballpark of what something would cost?
If you'd like, you can email, I'll put this in the chat. You can email our Citywide PB email address, and we can forward that question on the cost estimate to our planners, and we could get back to you with a cost estimate.
Thank
So I'll
you.
go ahead. Yeah, no problem. I'll go ahead and put that in the chat now. Okay, I see.
Deborah,
Okay.
Deborah, I just unmuted. I just allowed your microphone, so please unmute yourself. Deborah M. All right, Deborah, are you having a hard time?
Deborah, you can also put your questions in the chat, and we're happy to respond there too.
Okay, so in the meantime, Pamela Stauffer, I have enabled your mic. You can unmute yourself. All right, Lucio, while so Pam, it's not working for Pamela. All right, Deborah's writing the chat. Let's try our next person whose hand is up, Christopher. I'm going to enable your mic and just give it a second and you should be able to unmute yourself. Christopher. Okay. Um, hmm. All right, we're gonna try. We're gonna try Dominique. And anybody whose hand is up, I'm going to enable your mic, and you have to unmute yourself.
Hi, this is Dominique. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you,
Yes.
Dominique.
Great. So I'm with a park advisory council. This is personally my first time going through this process. Do we need to have a cost estimate of the improvement to submit an idea?
No, you don't.
Okay. And then say you know, down the line our proposal gets accepted or voted on. Is there a limit to how many improvements can be implemented in a certain park?
Sorry, your question is if multiple projects get submitted for a certain park. I'm sorry, can you just repeat your question just so I have it right?
Sorry.
No, no worries.
I guess the whole like categories thing is a bit confusing. So I'm just wondering like, um, so once we submit the ideas, I guess I have a few questions. How do those ideas turn into money for specific projects within a park? Yeah, like, are you awarding it to a specific park or is it to a specific region? How does that work?
Oh, I see. Yes, yes. So our goal is to distribute the 500K evenly throughout the three regions, North, Central, and South. It, like I said, it will depend on what folks submit as projects for which parks, but the whole gist of it is the winning categories, the winning category will we will try to uh equally distribute the funds throughout all those three regions, right? Depending on what, let's say public safety was the category that won, and people submitted different types of projects that are related to public safety. We would fund the projects in all three regions related to the projects related to to the public safety. Does that make sense? So like
Yes.
it
So
wouldn't
would
be for a
then,
specific, it wouldn't be for a specific park. It would be for
okay.
multiple parks.
Okay, so would all of those parks get that funding evenly, or would there be like a separate process to submit for funding for specific projects within a park?
I would say it really depends on what projects they are that are getting implemented. Just depending on what costs they have with them. Um, I hope that
Okay.
answers your question.
If someone answers it, thank you.
Yeah, and feel free to follow up using that Citywide PB at chicagoparkdistrict.com. I'm happy to talk further.
Okay, that would be great. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Christopher, do you want to try again and unmute yourself? Okay, so Lucio, as we try to figure this out, there are a couple questions in the chat. Question from Pam Stauffer. How are the categories going to be selected for the projects?
Yes, so Park District staff will categorize the projects based on common themes that we find throughout the projects that have been submitted. So if there's a common, we're thinking umbrella categories, right? So public safety, environmental sustainability, and these are just ones that I'm making up on the top of my head. It all depends on, like I said, the themes that we find based on what is submitted.
We had a
Will these,
question.
go ahead.
We had a question from Lorraine. Will these projects be prioritized ahead of current funded/approved projects?
I would say no, but it also depends on what kind of project it is, because I know some move slower than others, and then move faster than others. But they PB projects will not technically, you know, uh, be prioritized over anything else that's going on. It's just it consider it in its own lane, but not prioritized necessarily. So things that
Uh,
are already underway will continue on to their timeline the way that they have been planned out to be.
Another question from Christopher. What is the time commitment for joining the citywide discussions? What is the source of funds for these park improvements?
So we're still hashing out the time commitment for the steering committee. Um, we do, so I do, the steering committee will have to do a lot of the volunteer legwork, so like getting the word out, things like that. But once we start funding the projects, there'll be less of a lift for the steering committee. Um, but if you do sign up to be part of the steering committee, we will be sending out those expectations. They will be more solidified once we have those folks sign up.
And part two, Lucia, what is the source of funds for these park improvements?
Yeah, so it comes from the Park District's Capital Improvement Fund. That's just, yeah, though I don't think I can go into any further detail just because I'm not part of revenue or budgeting, uh, but yeah, it is coming from the park's capital improvement funds.
We have a question from Deborah. The CPD has a history of not making equitable improvements to parks in low-income neighborhoods. What is in place to ensure the funds are applied equitably?
Yeah, so going back to our goal of wanting to distribute the funds equitably, we are trying to get three projects for each region. So again, based off of the project category that wins, we will aim, again, depending on what is submitted for which parks, we will aim to have those projects happen and to be implemented across the city equally.
Darian, are you able to share the slide deck with us? I'd like to present it to our pack. Darian, I
Yeah,
love that.
yeah.
You want to share with the pack?
Yes, just I'm gonna put it in the chat again, just in case it got lost. But if you could, we will be posting these slides, I believe, but in case, you need it sooner or something like that, just feel free to email me and I will get those to you as soon as I receive your email.
Lucio, this is from Deborah. Voting is not a strong suit for low-income residents. Um, how are we going to tackle that?
I hear that, and I appreciate that kind of question. Um, we so we have the online form, but again, like that's not always accessible to everybody. So we are going to have uh, paper copies that we're going to distribute to the PACs as well as to the field houses so that, if someone's at the park, they can just pick up a paper and submit their ideas that way. We're also going to have a paper ballot and online ballot for when voting begins. Um, we are doing what we can with marketing. We're going to put a lot of this stuff on the billboards, like the movable billboards you see on the highways, and stuff like that. We have it on our website. And we need, obviously help from the community. So as much as you all have the capability, capacity, like we would love if you all could spread the word as much as you can.
How will implementation status be communicated and how often?
Yes, we will be posting all the implementation statuses on our website. That's for sure. And how often? I guess maybe well, I don't know if we've gotten that far yet, but I would assume anytime there's an update with the project, we would post it. Yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Okay. We have a question from Dr. Francois. How much depends upon the involvement of the local aldermen?
That's a good question. Maria, can you help me with that one? I'm not really totally sure.
We're relying on our alder folk to help spread the message.
Yeah.
Sharing it with their constituents to nominate as well as vote. These funds are already dedicated from our capital budget. Yeah, so we're going to rely on the older people to help us communicate with their constituents. Hey, Angela Higginbotham, how does one join the Citywide PB steering committee?
So you could either email me, and I'm happy to send you the form, or you could wait until tomorrow, and the link to sign up for the steering committee will be posted on the PB website. So I'll go ahead and type in the website URL as well in the chat.
Arlene, which communities are in the central community?
I wouldn't be able to name them at the top of my head, especially not all of them. So I'm happy to send you a list via email. Um, if you could email me, or I don't want to make you put your email in the chat. So just feel free to email me, and I'm happy to send you what those are.
Thank you. Is the PAC the only group allowed to present a PB suggestion?
No, you could just be a regular neighbor and submit your ideas, and as many ideas as you want. So yeah, you don't need to be part of a pack. We do ask that in the form, just for data purposes, surveying folks. But no, you don't have to be part of a pack.
Yeah, everybody and anybody can nominate projects.
Yes.
Yeah, the goal is to have people think about what would improve their park and make them happy in it. So if it's whatever it is, just nominate it. Will park staff have training to answer questions about this program?
Yes, we have we have a webinar for the same process for our staff on the 10th, which was announced today by the superintendent via email. So that will be on Teams, and there'll be emphasis on what the staff's role will be throughout this process.
Okay. And then we have a question from Dr. Francois. Would the resurfacing redesign of tennis courts at Mandrake Park for pickleball qualify? It's a multi-generational sport and fast growing with numerous underutilized tennis courts that aren't well kept and could be used for pickleball.
I don't want to give you an answer because I don't want to give you wrong information. I'm more than happy to bring this to our planners at the parks, who can have a better who have a better sense of what things cost. So, Dr. Francois, if you could email the Citywide PB at chicagoparkdistrict.com email address with this question, I'm more than happy to find out for you.
Okay. Will the questions and answers from these two online meetings be added to the FAQ section on the website?
I like that idea, and I'm more than happy to work on that. It might take until maybe next week or something, but they won't be. My point is they won't be up right away, but I'm happy to put an FAQ with these questions from both webinars.
Okay. We have two people writing, so we're just waiting for them to finish typing. What park district staff would be actually choosing between projects, and how will they communicate which project has been chosen?
So projects are not going to be chosen by the park district staff. Categories will be chosen by park district staff. And then what was the first question to that, Maria?
How will they communicate which projects have been chosen?
We will post all of that on our website. We'll have information on what projects got on the ballot. We'll have uh like an explanation as to why other ones didn't get on the ballot, whether it's just not feasible cost-wise or whether it's like a work order. A work order would be something that the parks should already be handling. Um, yes. So I hope that answers your question.
How many slots are on the steering committee?
There's 9 slots. We're capping it at 9 folks. So our goal is to have 3 folks from all 3 different regions.
Is the addition of playground equipment to the 63rd Street beach too expensive for PB?
I mean, again, I don't want to give wrong answers here, but I would say that's a great idea to submit for PB. I don't know if it's too expensive, but I would definitely submit that for an idea.
All right, we still have someone typing. Given the amount of work you want the steering committee to do, maybe add more seats, just a thought. So
More
that
than
was just
happy, more than happy to bring that back to the team. But this is a decision that the general superintendent made. Um, but like I said, I'm more than happy to bring that back. But as of now, we're going to cap it at 9.
Is there a plan for future years, PB?
Yes, PB is a cycle, so it goes. We're hoping to do this every year if it works out, which I really believe it will. Um, yeah, so yes, I do think there's a plan for future years for PB.
And Pamela, I'm not going to read that. Are there any other questions? Oh, one more. Someone's typing. Is there a limit on the number of projects per park?
There is only 50K for each region, so I imagine there will be a limit on the number of projects per park. Oh, excuse me, per park. I was answering that wrong. Is there a limit on the number of projects per park? I mean, people can submit as many ideas as they want for, let's say, one park, but that's not to say that all those projects will be implemented at that park. It could just be maybe one, or, but yeah, I hope that makes sense. Does that make sense, Maria?
Yes.
Okay.
Arlene, Garfield Park has an issue with metal theft, water fountains, etc. Is there a way to propose something that would succeed under these conditions?
Yeah, I've heard of this issue in other parks as well. I personally don't have the answer to that, but uh, I'm happy to discuss further and bring this back to headquarters if that's something you'd like to have us work on. But I unfortunately don't have an answer to that.
We're always looking for new innovative ways to protect our projects.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll go ahead. I know I did it many times, but I'm gonna do it again. I'm just gonna type in the email address into the chat so people can just copy and paste. Um, Again, it's Citywide PB at chicagoparkdistrict.com. Great.
Oh,
I think,
Pamela has her hand
oh,
up.
yes.
Hey, I think I figured out the mic thing.
Nice.
So when we start rolling this out to our respective parks, and people are like, what about this? What about this? What about this? What is the most effective way to get answers from you guys? Should we say, send your questions to that email, or we bundle them and send them to that email? What's the best way to do that?
Yeah, if there's questions or on costs or whatever it may be around Citywide PB, I'm more than happy to answer those questions if you just email them to me, whether that's bundled up or separately. Yeah.
Because I can only imagine on a citywide rollout that you're going to get a lot of the same ones, a lot of the, same issues or same, money limit, time, etc. And just to make it easier on you.
I appreciate that. Uh, but like I said, whatever is easier for you to communicate to us, I can
I mean,
manage.
if you've got 200 packs that are bombarding your mailbox with a 1 question, 2 questions, it's I could see it getting hairy relatively quickly.
Yeah, I hear that.
I mean, something to consider. I mean, I don't expect a full-bodied answer tonight, but it could get, a lot of work for you.
Yeah. I would say, if it sounds like I would say like if people have ideas and they have questions around cost, there's no harm in submitting the idea anyways. And but if they think it is too much, like of a cost, they could always go to that capital, what is it? Capital improvement plan suggestion form.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna add that link actually here to the chat, just so people can have that.
And some of these projects, I mean, like the water fountains, 10,000 for a water fountain is fine, but there's also the underlying, you need to have a water line. And if you don't have a water line, that project is going to go way up real fast. And so it's kind of, how fully fledged can these ideas be that you're putting on the website right now?
Yeah.
Our capital department will be doing a feasibility study for all of the projects that are nominated.
Okay.
And anything that's over the limit, will be, for lack of a better, parking lotted so that someday when there is funding, we know that that's a priority for the community.
Yeah. Great. If there's no more questions or concerns or feedback, oh, I see someone typing, so I'll just give it a moment.
Oh, and Lucia, we have 18 people on this call. So that's 18 ideas that could be nominated.
That's right.
It's very
18
easy
or
to
more.
nominate.
Yes.
At least 18 we should see overnight.
Yes. Alrighty. I think it was just someone saying thanks, good night. So thank you all so much for joining. I hope this was informative. Please keep in touch. Please submit your ideas. Please spread the word to your neighbors. Let's get excited about PB. And like I said, we're here if you need to reach out for whatever reason. And again, this recording will be posted on the website. Thank you all so much.
Good night.